It's noon here in Ventnor City, New Jersey, and our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., and this is CarEdge Live for, Monday, October 14th, also known as Columbus Day, ladies and gentlemen, and there won't be any mail today, with your hosts, me, Ray, and Zach, with the proclamation, the world is not ending. Shocking as that may seem coming from us.
Today's show is brought to you by CarEdge.com. My dad and I started CarEdge almost 5 years ago. If we can help you buying a vehicle, selling a vehicle, getting a warranty, anything and everything in between, check it out, CarEdge.com. I think, Dad, Columbus Day actually got renamed Indigenous Peoples Day, so I'm pretty sure the name changed, just making you aware of that. But that is not the story we are leading off with. The story we are leading off with, Dad, on this Good News Monday.
Yeah.
Fisker bankruptcy plan approved after deal on vehicle tech support. Dad, Fisker, one of those upstart EV companies that, they made some vehicles and then they went out of business. If you bought one of those Fisker Oceans, you're going to get some support, it seems. And, sorry for the people that did buy Fiskers. Those things, they're screwed.
Yes. Well, that's the whole point. The world is not coming to an end for those folks, okay, who were foolish enough, especially the ones who paid, top dollar for a Fisker before they said, oh, geez, we might have to go out of business. And they were offering huge discounts. But at least this way, there should be some tech support. I believe for like the next 5 years, especially for the group that's buying the remaining 3,000 Fiskers for I think it's $46 million. And my suspicion is that they're slightly overpaying by, say, $45 million. And there is one thing I have to say. It's Columbus Day, damn it. I don't care what anybody else says. I am 73 years old. It's Columbus Day. We ain't changing the name. It's Columbus Day. Okay? If it wasn't for Christopher Columbus, you and I wouldn't be sitting here today talking to the world. So it's Christopher Columbus Day. It is not Indigenous Peoples Day here in the United States. That's it. I'm done.
The federal government changed the name of it. I'm not taking a stance on anything. I'm just telling you what the federal government did.
I don't care what just because the federal government did something doesn't mean it's right.
Why are we using our platform to take such a strong stance on this?
Because it's Columbus Day. It was when I was a kid. It still is. Okay, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I am still disappointed. Okay, that we no longer celebrate.
No,
George
you know what, Dad? No.
What?
No. You know what your punishment is for taking an overtly political stance on our show? You have to talk about Stellantis, okay? I was going to save this for later, but there you go, Dad. You want to make our show, which I beg you to not make political. There you go. U.S. Troubles put Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares in Paris spotlight. Now you got to vamp on Carlos Tavares, your least favorite thing to do. That is your punishment, Dad.
Well, my punishment is that you're going to force me to talk about the company whose name I shall no longer utter. But Mr. Tavares finds himself in a position because of, his mismanagement of the company whose name I will no longer utter. In a precarious position where he has to defend how it is that he is going to bring back the name of the company that I refuse to utter to the good graces of the North American buying public over, the last perhaps 18 months of his reign of terror at that said company. He's busy making speeches in Paris when perhaps he should be making arrangements for how he's going to spend that golden parachute that he's probably going to get.
All right, I was wrong. It's not federal government. It's state by state. So you've got some states that call it Indigenous Peoples Day, some states that call it Columbus Day, some states that say both, some states that say something else. So my apologies. This is a mess. This is an absolute mess.
It is a mess.
I want to apologize to you. I apologize for
Well,
claiming
thank
that you're
you.
making this political. You're not. You're right. In some states, like, wait, let's zoom in. In New Jersey, it looks
Yeah.
like you are celebrating today. So that's light blue, Columbus Day. You are celebrating Columbus Day. My apologies, Dad.
Yeah. Do you know
My
why?
why?
Because there's an inordinate number of Italians living in New Jersey, and they would riot if you tried to change the name to something else. That's why.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so there we go. We're moving on. Yes, Stellantis is screwed. All right, the other story we had today, Dad, Fiat, they are trying to figure some things out. They're trying to sell some cars, so they're trying to compete with the Tesla Cybertruck. There's a marketing campaign here that, I don't know, just seems
Yeah.
really far-fetched, trying to move the Fiat 500e. This was pretty hilarious, though, if you watch it.
Well, I didn't watch it. I read about it. You say tomato, we say pomodoro. Oh, isn't that clever? You say angles, we say angels. Oh, scroll down to the bottom of the article. Okay. And here's what's really going on, folks, as they try to make a play to garner greater support for the 500e electric vehicle. In terms of sales, there's not much of a comparison between the two EVs. In July alone, consumers registered 5,175 Cybertrucks in the US, while Fiat has sold 439 of the 500Es in all of 2024. Compare it all you want. You can compare it to something that doesn't exist, because that's pretty much its position here in the United States. For most folks, it doesn't exist. For most folks, they could care less, but somehow you did garner a headline in automotive news. Interesting concept. We are going to explain why it is such a warm bundle of joy as opposed to cold rolled steel. And everybody knows I do not like the look of the
Cybertruck. Yeah.
Yeah, I truly, and this will piss people off, but I truly believe it is one of the ugliest vehicles on the road today.
Yeah.
Saw one, I think it was Thursday night when I went out to dinner with my buddy. I mean, it is it's so damn big and it's so damn ugly. It's just big and ugly. Okay. But obviously people in North America prefer that considerably more than they prefer the 500e, regardless of Spike Lee and Giancarlo Esposito.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, in spite of all those efforts, the best efforts that they could muster. Yeah.
All this marketing for EVs, though, Dad, did mark a record-setting Q3. EV sales set another record in Q3. Higher incentives, more choices. So maybe those Fiat 500e sales numbers are going to go up and to the right. But we did see that the largest ever share of EV sales in Q3, the EV share of sales in Q3 hit 8.9%, the highest level ever recorded.
Yes.
And an increase from 7.8% in Q3 of 2023. So more EVs are selling right now. A lot of it has to do with the fact that electric vehicles are getting big incentives and big discounts. So while Fiat is out there trying to compare themselves to the Tesla Cybertruck and spending money on those marketing agencies to make those ads come to fruition, some of their peers are discounting EVs. The average incentive is 12% of the transaction price, which is much higher than 7%, which is the industry average right
now. Now the question, when they say EVs have garnered 8.9% of sales for the third quarter, are they incorporating into that number hybrids and plug-in hybrids as well?
Let's see.
As opposed to just battery electric vehicles?
I'm looking at it. I don't think it has hybrids. I think it's just battery electric vehicles.
Okay. Just curious.
Yeah. The leasing loophole was also generously applied, as leasing allows all EV buyers to qualify for the generous government-supported incentives. Electric vehicle prices were higher year over year in Q3, but by less than 1%. The average price paid for an EV in Q3 was just over $57,000, 19% higher than the average transaction price of all vehicles in the most recent quarter. But yeah, you can see here, Dad.
Yes.
Yeah, total EV sales. In EV, this is for lease penetration.
Yes.
EVs represented 42.7% of all leases.
Well, the only way, unless you're planning on keeping an EV forever, the only way you should get one is a lease, because that's where all the incentives are. And EVs depreciate faster than any other vehicle type out there. So
yeah, you saw I pulled up the Fisker article from Edmunds. Oh, cool. Look, our $69,000 Fisker Ocean is only worth $21,000 now. We bought a new Fisker Ocean for our long-term fleet just 2 months ago. So, that's a drastic example, but there are examples out there in the world of EVs losing 60% of their value in 2 months.
Yeah, a lot of the EVs drop like a rock. And that's why I suggest, if you want one, the only way to do it is by leasing it. Now, the disadvantage of leasing it is that many of the lease companies today no longer allow you to buy out the vehicle at the end of the lease.
Yeah.
But this way you get to figure out whether or not you really like or love or can't live without an EV, based on having had 2 or 3 years worth of experience by having leased one. So,
yeah.
I think what it proves is that with the right incentives, pretty much you can sell anything. Okay. And so what we've seen is the incentives on EVs go up dramatically, and what was considered a stagnating segment of auto sales, EV sales, they were always going up and to the right, just not as quickly as everybody thought they would. And so we saw, with the advent of these huge incentives, that sales for those vehicles have picked up again. But I will also say this: if the average transaction price is $57,000, that rules out the vast majority of Americans from ever hoping to buy a brand new one or lease a brand new one. If we are living in a time where we have an affordability crisis for new vehicles, and we know we are, because interest rates are higher, average transaction prices are higher, even though the percentage of incentives making up the average transaction prices is slightly higher, all it's done is even out. The increase in the incentive has evened out the increase in the selling price, so people are still basically paying the same. And we know that there's just an affordability issue, and it has been for the past 2 or 3 years. And those who are getting EVs are those who could afford to get an EV, and those who can't afford an EV, also at an average transaction price of $48,000 for ICE vehicles, can't afford those. So that's the real issue. Not, it's great that EV sales are trending in the right direction for EV manufacturers. It's still everything trending in the wrong direction for the affordability issue for the vast majority of people in this country.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. However, there is more competition than ever before. This chart shows you Tesla's share of total EV sales versus all of the others in the industry. So Tesla is the dark blue, and they have the lowest share of sales ever right now relative
that they've
to
ever
their
had.
peers. Yeah, so that's actually really good news in terms of competition. We know General Motors just came out, maybe it was like end of last week or beginning of this week, and they said, hey, we're on a quest to profitability with our electric vehicles. And GM has done a good job relative to their peers in terms of like the Blazer EV and some of the others. They are, they're creating more affordable electric vehicles. And yeah, you can see here, General Motors EV sales jumped significantly in Q3, up nearly 60%, while still distant to Tesla. GM improved its standing in the EV race. Cadillac, Chevrolet, and GMC all helped them out. Hyundai fell behind GM into third place in terms of EV sales. flat at nearly 30,000 vehicles. Ford continues to struggle, only 23,500 sold. Honda and Acura with 15,000 EV sales. So here's what's interesting, Dad. Here are the brands that are leaning the most into electric vehicles. Jaguar, 32.5% of all Jaguars sold last quarter were electric vehicles. Look at Cadillac. 1 out of every 5 Cadillacs is that Lyric. Okay, there's a member of our team, Phil, on our team recently got a Lyric lease. Why? Because it's like the only one they've actually updated over at Cadillac.
I didn't know that. Phil got a Lyric?
Yep, Phil got a Lyric lease, yes.
Oh, God bless him. I know he loves his Cadillacs. So
yeah, but like they have, like what's interesting about this, that is like these are the brands that are essentially, I don't want to say abandoning, but they're really not putting a lot of effort into their internal combustion engine or hybrid vehicles. They're going all in on EVs and trying to push their customers there. And eventually the prices get low enough that people will do it. Like the Cadillac Lyric lease deals are pretty insane right now. Like the payment that you're going to get on that if you're into leasing is like you can't find it anywhere else.
Well, and that is the key for EV sales. I'm telling you, it's leasing. Leasing is what makes just about anything seem affordable, even though it's still not. It gives the appearance that it's still affordable. So without leasing, and the strong leasing programs that you see out there and the strong governmental incentives, whether they be federal plus state and local, you start adding up all those incentives and it can dramatically lower the capitalized cost of that vehicle. So you can end up with a lease payment that is incredibly low in comparison to the relative value of the vehicle.
And we do keep track of all the lease deals every single month. Just Google search lease deals space CarEdge, and those will pop up. Look at the brands that are not pushing electric vehicles. Toyota, less than 1% of their sales are EVs. Subaru, 2.2% of their sales are EVs. GMC, 3%. Lexus, 3.4%. 3.8% for Honda. And interestingly, Toyota, Subaru, Honda, these are the brands that have the lowest days supply of inventory. Yes. Right now. These are the ones that are the most difficult to get your hands on. So I wonder if there's a connection here between really, really low electric vehicle sales and really, really low days supply of inventory. The lower the days supply of inventory, the more difficult it is to negotiate. Like there's got to be some correlation there, right?
Oh, I would think absolutely. And what contributes to, for instance, Toyota and Lexus's dwindling day supply of inventory is the fact that they're pretty much all in on hybrids, and apparently Toyota and Lexus buyers think the same way. They're all in on the hybrids from those brands. So, each manufacturer finds a different road to travel to get to where it is that they want to get to. Obviously, Toyota, Lexus, they will have more EV offerings moving forward and into the future, but they're not moving down that path as quickly as many of the other manufacturers, because they realize that for the most part, their customers have determined they don't want to go full battery electric just yet. They're okay utilizing hybrids and plug-in hybrids until they're ready to make the total switch.
All right, Pops, let's come here to the chat. We have from Michael P. Michael, thank you so much, Zach. Michael. Nice to hear about you speaking in New York City on entrepreneurship last week. It's good to see hard work recognized. Continued growth and success to you, Ray, and CarEdge. Thank you. That's incredibly kind, Michael. Yeah, last week I was up in New York. I got to do a talk about YouTube. Really, really cool. Really, really fun. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate you calling that out. We've got here, Dad, from MOC619SD. Some used vehicle purchase negotiation tips, please. Dad, what are you thinking about if you're buying a used car? How are you negotiating the price on that?
I'm thinking, because of the vast number of vehicles that were destroyed in the 2 hurricanes that hit Florida, and then the first hurricane that not only impacted Florida, but Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia, that it's going to be tough to find good quality pre-owned vehicles and to be able to negotiate a price, because there's going to be somewhat of a shortage of those vehicles, because there's a there's a boatload of people that need to replace the vehicles that they had. And many of those people will still be looking for pre-owned vehicles based on the insurance settlements that they get. So, it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be tough out there pre-owned wise. We have suggested that we think that pricing is not going to drop nearly as much as we would have liked to have seen because of some of these external issues, and that we think that there's better values out there on the new car side than on the pre-owned side.
That being said, the strategy to negotiate a used car is get the black book value, go ahead and find multiple options. Definitely be prepared to negotiate because all advertised prices for used cars have markup built into them. Pre-approval for your financing before you go to the dealership. That's an area where things can get risky. The extended warranty, they're going to try and sell you one of those. Do your research there. So there's all sorts of things on a used car. You can still, even though it might not necessarily be a better value because of the quality and because of how incentivized new cars are becoming right now, there's still some kind of like checklist things you can do. And it's worth mentioning, Dad, when you're on CarEdge.com, you go to the homepage,
Yes.
put in the vehicle that you're interested in here, and this will take you through. You end up on a page, folks, where you get our step-by-step checklist, our guide, invoice pricing, market insights. Like there's so much that you can get back on CarEdge.com. So please avail yourselves of those resources.
And one other thing that has always been important, but will be even more important moving forward because of the number of flood vehicles that are going to make it to used car auctions, is make sure you get a pre-purchase inspection done on any pre-owned car that you are close to buying. And so how do you do that at the dealership? You agree to a price contingent upon the vehicle getting a clean bill of health through a pre-purchase inspection done by a independent third-party inspector, whether it be Lemon Squad, whether it be you're buying a Honda from a Ford dealership and you want to make arrangements to take that Honda to the Honda dealership. But make sure you get another set of eyes on this vehicle. If the dealership says, oh, no, we don't allow that, that is not a dealership where you want to buy a pre-owned car. They are hiding something.
Can we do an experiment, Dad?
Sure.
All right. I mean, there you go. You get an AI answer that pulls in all the CarEdge stuff, how to negotiate a used car video right there, negotiate with these cheat sheets, negotiate with an email template. So anyway, I'm just pulling this up because I think Google is your best friend in this situation. Just add CarEdge at the end and you're going to get all of our free resources that can help you out. And again, we also have a car buying service. So if you want to give up and let us do it, we do offer that for some used vehicles as well. Can I go ahead, Dad?
I was going to say, I can't tell you how disturbing it was that I just found out that my best friend is Google when I thought my best friends were Barry and Sandy. But what do I know?
That's really sweet that Barry and Sandy are your best friends. Dad, let's get a little favorite segment of the show. Let's do it.
Really? You've got to be kidding me.
General Motors' iconic car discontinued, thousands facing layoffs. GM is laying off nearly 2,000 workers at its assembly plant in Fairfax, Kansas, as it gears up to discontinue a Chevrolet model that was once among its most popular. You've got here, Dad, the end of the Chevy Malibu. The Chevy Malibu is being discontinued, and General Motors laying off 2,000 line workers as a result. Sedans are going by the wayside, even though we know consumers are demanding cheaper and cheaper vehicles. You can't be too shocked to see this, but also at the same breath, it's kind of surprising. Like, why are they getting rid of a cheap sedan?
They are. I feel bad for the workers. First off, I mean, that's really unfortunate. The fact that, that they were going to discontinue that vehicle, it makes a great rental car. I am sure that they can continue to sell them to the rental car agencies of the world. And so it's unfortunate. And many rental cars end up making pretty decent used cars. I'm not suggesting for a moment that that Malibu might be one of those, but the possibility exists. You can get your hands on a good one.
Yep.
And it was a fairly sizable sedan, roomy sedan. And personally, I think sedans should make a comeback in this. I think I mean, I get why manufacturers don't want to advertise and push sedans. They're not nearly as profitable, but look, and I know people hate when I say this, but
Huh.
look how well Chevy's doing with the Trax. That's not a sedan; it's a crossover, but it's a cheap, inexpensive, and they have figured out how to make profits off of those vehicles. So okay, maybe they have to sell 5 Traxes to make the same profit they make on a Hummer. I don't know. But the point is, you can create 5 new customers for your brand by selling them a Trax who might eventually replace the Trax with the next size up and the next size up, and so they could actually become a customer for life because you had an entry level vehicle for them.
Yep.
And maybe more manufacturers need to remember that and think more along those lines so that they can figure out how to graduate their customers from their first vehicle all the way up to their last and keep them in their brands the entire time.
Yeah, definitely automakers have abandoned that concept. That's for sure. We at CarEdge have not abandoned you. I'm going to walk you through what I was doing while my dad was going there. Went to CarEdge.com, put in Chevy Malibu, got to this page. I found the local dealers that actually have Chevy Malibus. Then once I submitted, Dad, I have access here. I'm going to scroll down to it. I'm just going straight to the dealer invoice. So I have all the invoice price breakdowns, as well as we had a recent Chevy Malibu deal, and you can see huge savings
Yes.
on these Chevy Malibus. And on this page, we also have all of the cost of ownership information as well. You can click on it right here, and that guide and checklist that I was talking about just a moment ago. All of that is 100% free back on CarEdge.com.
And the only thing that requires from a customer would be, that is a very nice Segway, although I've never ridden on a Segway. Yeah, that's the correct way, Susan.
That'd be
Segway. But all that, the only cost associated with that would be providing an email, a name and an email address to
free,
create
baby.
a CarEdge account. Is
free,
that
baby.
all?
It's free. It's free. It's free. Indeed. And then, Pops,
Yes.
if you don't mind, I do want to pick out, we had from electrified light vehicles. Why is the search site on CarEdge glitchy today? We were having a glitch earlier this morning. I think it's resolved. If y'all could help me out, caredge.com/buy. It's working on my end. Can y'all try it? It might create a new glitch now, asking everyone to go at once, but let me know. We did this the other day with the homepage speed test. Sorry to be doing this live, but the help is greatly appreciated. Go to caredge.com, click on search cars. Let me know if it's buggy for you. It should be resolved, but if it's not, we need to continue to figure that out. So let me know. We've got from The Art of the Real. Thank you, The Art of the Real.
Yes.
Why should I watch this episode as everything is okay? Ray, please say hello to Snooki for me. Dad's in Southern Jersey, not Northern Jersey. And it is cool to see people tuning in, even though today has a positive tone to it.
It does. And the number of concurrent viewers is probably 20 to 25% lower than on average. So, folks, as much as you want to complain that we use clickbaity headlines, I don't know, to get you to tune in and watch, damn it, they work. Putting the world is not ending. People just go, oh, well, it's just another day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
It is a nice day, though. It's a happy day. I'm happy. We've got from Cloepo. Happy, especially to see them with us. Sorry, I've been MIA. Hurricane hit, had no power. Oh my goodness.
Wow. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm glad that your power is back. And we did miss you. And we always miss Cloepo.
Yeah, we absolutely did.
Yeah.
We got from Frank. Hey, Ray, I saw a YouTube video this weekend where they did a really good job explaining what the out the door price is. Was that one of our videos? Someone else's? Good on them. Out the door is a great concept.
I believe that was my "You Got Questions, I Got Answers" video.
Yeah.
So, yeah, people. We've been doing this for nearly 5 years, and we've been talking about the out the door price, or OTD, and every day in the comments is, well, what is the OTD? So I just
let's go back to our best friend while you're doing this. I'm going to go back to our best friend here.
Yeah,
go for it, Dad.
And so I'm always reminded that even though we think we talk about it all the time, there are any number of people who are tuning in for the first time and have no idea what it is. So that's why I went into such great detail the other day to explain what the out the door price is and why you want to negotiate that as opposed to negotiating a payment.
Yeah, I just pulled that up on the screen. Also, Dad,
yes,
I kind of want to do no clickbait week, and like honestly, if less people tune in, that's like the group of people we want to hang out with. So you know what? Let's do that. We're doing no clickbait this week. It's just going to be happy or like neutral commentary from like a title and thumbnail perspective. I prefer it, honestly. Smaller, more tight knit. We can have fun. Let's do it.
Okay.
From Matthew, good to see you, Matthew. Ray, you just summed up the existence of the M Sport, AMG, and S lines with regards to the customers for life. Those of us who bought the full fat models be damned. Yeah.
I mean that really I remember when I first started in the industry in 1977, and it was at that time it was a Datsun store, Admiral Datsun, and then when Nissan changed its name, well, we changed our name to Admiral Nissan. But the point is that back when I started, there was the B210 was the entry level vehicle, and the entry B210 was the Honeybee. It was as stripped down a vehicle as you could get. It was yellow, and it had the black stripe on the side to make it look like bee wings, and it was really cheap, really inexpensive, and Datsun or Nissan at that time had this concept that we have a starter car for people, and then we can move them up to the next level and the next level, and and ultimately you get them to the Maxima, or you get them to the Pathfinder. So there is sense. It makes sense to do things like that. And Chevrolet's been around for a million years, and they're still trying to do it, to have an entry level vehicle to hook you for life. It makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, it absolutely does. Dad, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Have you seen there's a new father-son duo on the block that is growing incredibly fast, and they are AJ and Big Justice. Have you seen these guys?
I have not seen AJ and Big Justice. What do they do?
They go to Costco.
Yeah.
And they yell. They started with Boom or Doom. Yeah, Boom or Doom.
Yeah.
So it's like they would review things at Costco, and they'd be like, if it's good, they'd say like boom, and if it was bad, they'd say like doom.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, we don't have to do clickbait, man. Maybe we just got to go to Costco together.
Wow. Jeez, I had no idea, but I'll just say this. That speaks so poorly of us as a nation that people would tune into that crap. And I'm not saying that, I don't know if, but I mean, I find it hard enough that people tune into us because they think we're entertaining. Okay. And for a father and son to go to a Costco together and people want to watch.
Be careful. The kid is like under 15 or something. So you got to be, he's a kid. He's very much a kid. So let's be a positive as adults who have built a father-son business. Let's be a positive.
Let me restate. Honestly, that I can't think of a better way. Listen, truth of the matter is, we used to go to Costco every Sunday, or you and I, when we lived in Arnold and
Arnold,
Savannah
Maryland.
Park.
Yep.
And yeah, we would hang out at Costco every Sunday. So God bless them for developing a strong father-son relationship by hanging out at Costco, because you can see some of the most fascinating people in America at a Costco. You can.
I'll send you some of their clips that they are interesting, to say the least. They have a rap song. Maybe we need a rap song. That could be we're that it's no clickbait week. So we got to pull out some new things.
Yeah, definitely. We need to do that. Speaking of some pretty amazing people you could see at Costco, that is the only major company in America that hires people that have X-ray vision, that can look at your 3-foot-long Costco receipt, look in your cart and go, yeah, everything that's in that cart's on this receipt. I mean, it takes special people with X-ray vision to be able to do that, and Costco has hired them all. And
they have a great recruiting department over
let's
at
face
Costco.
it, if you have a glitch at that, you probably end up at Sam's Club or BJ's Wholesale.
From Matthew Hoskin. Thank you, Matthew. Costco has this is a joke. Okay, Costco, this is satire. Costco has a deal right now on Fiat 500Es. You can get a value pack over at Costco. What happens when Costco and Fiat do strike a deal, and it's like, spend $1,000 on toilet paper, get a Fiat? That'd be a great promotion.
No, it really would. The problem is you couldn't fit $1,000 worth of toilet paper in your Fiat. But now that could be a video.
That could be from Ice. Do you guys answer any questions regarding our site? Of course. Yeah, leave it in the comments here in the chat. We'd be happy to. From Squeegee Kid.
Yeah.
Good to see you here, Squeegee Kid. I know you were laughing earlier in the show. Ray is right. Had a Nissan Altima in 2007. They moved up to an Xterra,
which had everything you need and nothing you don't, by the way.
And if it wasn't for the stupid shifter, I'd be in the market for a 2025 Nissan Pathfinder.
I mean, I saw it when I started. We had the B210. We had they came out with an F10 at one time, which was literally the answer to the question that nobody ever asked. They had a 310. We had the 510 sedan and 510 wagon. I mean, they were popular. Okay, and they were just, the B210 probably today in a stick shift. I mean, back then it was probably getting 35, 40 miles to the gallon. Mm-hmm. I don't know. The world has gone to hell in a handbasket. We could still be back in those heydays of $2,000 B210s, 4-speed manual transmission that my son would never be able to drive. I was looking at a Mazda 3 hatchback, mm-hmm. and the only way you can get them is in a stick. And I was thinking to myself, well, wouldn't that be fun to drive? But then, if I have like a heart attack or anything, nobody could get in my car and drive me anywhere. So
yeah, you're right about that. Please don't have a heart attack. Ice wants to know, do you guys offer extended warranties for cars in California? Yes, it's called mechanical breakdown insurance in California. Go to CarEdge.com under warranty, compare and buy. And it's only for new vehicles. So you'll just come here, put in the vehicle that you're interested in. Not all 2025s are listed out here. So go ahead and use, you can see, don't have a ton of 2025 coverage, but it works with every VIN. So go ahead and come here, choose California, put in a VIN, or choose it from the year, make, model dropdown, and you can purchase entirely online through CarEdge. There's all sorts of other coverages there as well. Please, please, please do your research before you purchase these things. We give you all the info you could possibly need. Okay, let's call it a show. Okay. We'll be back tomorrow. There's going to be no clickbait. All right. So we need lots of help from the community. If you know anyone in the market to buy a car, if you know anyone who's bored from 12 p.m. to 12:30 p.m. consistently Monday through Friday, tell them about this. I guess those are like the two criteria to join us.
Well, the other thing, if you folks would be so kind, if you want to leave in the comments some suggestions for headlines we could use this week that are not clickbaity, then we'll be.
Oh, yeah, what's the over under on how many days we don't do clickbait? What's the over under on that? We're gonna get a money line going for the over under. I give it 3 days. I think by Thursday, I'm looking in the mirror and I'm like, flames, Jeep. But let's see. I hope I'm wrong about that. I think that tomorrow's headline can be bunnies frolicking through the automotive landscape, something like that.
Whatever, but even though it could be a positive headline, it's got to be surrounded by
oh, there's gonna be flames.
Yeah, it's got to be surrounded by flames, absolutely. Car market barbecue, something like that.
Car market barbecue. Tune in tomorrow for the car market barbecue.
Car market barbecue tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen.
No clickbait show. That's a good idea from Igor. We can just call it no
Yeah.
clickbait show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Flaming bunnies. Yeah.
Well, that's you. I don't know how you come up with flaming, but whatever. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, folks, if we can help you out with anything, you can support us, support our team back at CarEdge.com. We'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to go get some lunch.
Me too. That's on the agenda. Thanks for putting up with me today. A happy Columbus Day, everybody.
And in the states where it's Indigenous Peoples Day, happy Indigenous Peoples Day. See you, Dad.
For those of you living in those states, yes, indeed.
And for those of you who are now thinking about moving to different states as a result of now learning that each state has their own rules around this, more power to you. See you, Pops.
Yeah. Love you.